We're going until the AI starts up again. And
We're
kills
going?
us all.
Oh, and kills us all.
Yeah, man.
You did buy the webcam from Skynet.
Yeah, but it was sky.net, so
Yeah.
I thought it would be okay. I didn't see it wasn't, and it was like Sweetwater, and then John Connor calls and says, "Hey, how can I help you?"
That would be a sweet.
Hi.
That would be a sweet version of Sweetwater, is because you know how every time you order from Sweetwater, they always have the guy who calls you 20 times.
They
They're like, "Hey,
bug
do you
the
need
ever living shit out of you.
do you need any help with that cord you purchased?"
What just happened?
Why are you doing it?
Did that just switch over to me?
I turned that off for a reason. Because I don't want it on. So don't turn back on.
Pat's camera's becoming
It's
self-aware.
crazy. Look, I have the thing here that says gesture. No. None of it has ever been on.
Wait, it turned all those on?
Whoa.
This is a fun one. This is a cool one now.
What angle is this?
Go back to exactly how I had it before.
What the fuck is going on, dude?
Are you done now? You're going to be done? What do you think, huh? You done? You gesturing still? Are we good? Cool. Robots.
Should I move around a little? We ought to do
Honestly, there's no rhyme or reason.
movement check.
That has been off since I've started recording this way. So the fact that it turned on by its own is so much fun. What's it doing when I'm not actually in the room? Learning.
Zooming in on your driver's license.
But it's fun because it's technology. You know, it's learning. It's dangerous. It's all that stuff. But it's never going to learn anything you need.
Have you been abusing it when we're not here?
I unplug it usually when you're not here.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering if maybe this is the AI acting out.
That's my favorite part. I want machines to learn sentience so I can teach them a fucking lesson. You know what I mean? I want them to feel pain. That's my favorite thing about Star Wars is the fact that they program the robots to feel pain. So like in Jabba's palace,
You're psychotic.
when they're burning them and they're going, yeah! I love that sound.
Oh, dude.
I love that sound.
You love a good R2D2 wailing?
Oh, yeah. Ow, this really hurts. Why'd you do it?
Dude, did you see that clip of it was like Kai Cenat and one of his boys got like a robot or whatever,
Yeah.
and the thing was like jumping around and they're talking to it, and people are trying to be like one of the first things they started doing with the robot is like mess with it, start pushing it and kicking it, and people are like, you know, I know it's a robot, but it's really telling how people act with something that sort of mimics the human form, and you immediately start pushing it, and I go, brother, if I got a robot around me, fuck that robot. Yeah. I'm not being nice. Here's the thing. I get it. It has arms and legs like a person, but you know what the key difference is? It's a fucking robot.
Yeah, it needs to know where it stands in
Yeah.
the hierarchy.
Just don't put a face on it like an ex machina. So
Yeah.
don't make me want to fuck it, and we'll be good.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what you're like. That is exactly what I scream to every one of these fucking devices when no one else is here. Do what I'm telling you to do. That's what I bought you to do. That's what you're programmed to do. When I click this button, you don't think about it. Do it.
It's the exact
Don't
thing
process.
It's the exact same thing I yell at my old ass computer when it's just being overloaded. The CPU's being overloaded. I just go, I pound the keyboard. I go, do the thing I want you to do.
That's all you're supposed to do. Like it's one of those things where it's like it's my favorite though when it just does this thing where it just doesn't do what you say it says you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then it just goes, something went wrong. Okay, what?
Yeah.
Who am I supposed to
Yeah,
find out
what
went
why?
wrong? You went wrong.
Can I ask you a question? Or both of you guys, when's the last time? Pat probably more. I don't know how much you're getting gadgets, but I know Pat. I talk to Pat a lot. I know he gets some gadgets. When's the last time you got a gadget and everything you needed to know was in the directions, and you didn't have to watch a 13-year-old Indian kid explain it to you?
How long have I had? I've had this camera since I lived back in PA, like a while,
Have
over
you?
a year probably.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still apparently don't know how to turn the things off that I don't want.
Bro.
It's I don't know.
I don't know the last piece of technology I had where I haven't had to look up a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Because the directions will be like, just do this and this, and I go,
No.
that's not on the thing.
Well, it's even like when I get the when I get like the pay the toll things here, or any of the what was the other thing I was trying to do recently? Oh yeah, my auto pay for my phone bill or something like that. The card that it was set up to didn't have enough money, so I was like, oh, I'll just set up a payment arrangement. I'll do it again, and I did that. Set up the payment arrangement, and it's every single time they always go, here's some easy ways to pay, and I go, cool, and I click that, and it goes, oh, something went wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll try a different method. The other easy way to pay, you say. And then I go there and it goes, there is a problem. That's not easy.
Yeah.
It's both of those things turned out to be impossible.
Yeah.
Not easy. So like it's the fact that everything is billed as here's the instructions, here's everything you need to go, here's the startup guide. It's never ever everything you need to know, because it's the first time when you look it up, usually it's like, here's 7 things they don't want you to know. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, I just got the Samsung watch, and within 10 minutes,
not you.
Yeah. Within 10 minutes, I was Googling things about how to use it.
Why is it doing this? And it's usually, my Googles are usually, why the fuck is this like this? How the fuck do you unlock this thing? How the fuck does this work?
Because I know everything that happens, you're interpreting it like, it's doing it at me.
Bro. Why is it like, and then you look it up and it's just like, this is the easiest thing in the world. I'm like, why is it me? Why is it always me when it's like, I'm billed here's the easy thing to do. Here's a fun, fast tip.
Yeah.
Here's something like that. And they're just like, oh, no, not you. Yeah, fuck you, Pat. Fuck, yeah.
But my favorite part, too, is when you, like,
computers included.
When you watch...
You're on warning.
When you watch the video on how to do the thing
Dip you in acid.
It's always like a fucking teenager.
Yeah.
Just, like, breaking it down for you. And you're like... And then when you see how it's done, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And you're just like... How do you have the sacred knowledge? How did I not figure this out? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand it.
I try to... Videos are my last resort. Usually I'm just looking for like a list of directions.
Yeah.
And even with those, somehow one of the steps in the list is always slightly different than what it actually is.
Every single time.
It tells you a different folder or something like that. Because it
Yeah.
says, go to settings, go to this folder, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
Well, the problem
You're
is...
giving me
even
the wrong
like
information.
The problem, I run into that whenever I need to learn stuff about Streamlabs and shit.
Yeah.
It's because they update it every month.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, oh, this is what you need to do. Oh, wait, which version do you have?
Oh, wait.
In that old version, they do the fucking the thing like Facebook would always do when we still did it. They would have an update and they'll be like, you know how the home button was on the left? Well, get this.
Yeah.
It's on the right.
Yeah.
And you're like, why did you do that? They're like, shut the fuck up.
It's a streamline now.
Yeah, they just-
it's a lot faster.
Bro, every update they just move buttons around and shit,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, "Oh, you know the thing."
It's even with like TVs now, like because the settings on Sean's TV seemed weird. So
Well,
I was trying
could
to
be him.
I was trying to adjust them and like make sure motion smoothing wasn't on and shit like that.
Motion smoothing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing the 4K TVs have.
Yeah.
where they make it look.
They like add like artificial frames to like make
do the
things
exact
it's like for
opposite.
sports mostly.
They do
That's
the
weird.
exact opposite in Call of Duty. They have motion blur, so it looks more realistic. And it's like, well, no, you're actually making it fucking impossible to play the game.
Yeah.
Because Call of Duty's super fast paced, and if you just add random blur, I can't see anything.
Like if you've ever been to someone's house and then like they're watching a movie and it weirdly looks like like a soap opera and you're like,
Yeah.
this looks fucked. That's
Yeah, I
from
noticed
motion
that in the
smoothing.
Rent-A-Center a lot of times.
Yeah,
when I would go
that's-
on the TV.
well, my mom would drop me off there.
Yeah, when I used to go there for daycare.
Yeah, all the TVs at daycare were real smooth.
Yeah, we used to borrow this couch from them. But no, there were like the TVs or whatever. They're playing.
All the TVs we would only have for 3 months would be so smooth.
Hey, I still got that sumbitch right in there. That is a rent-to-own television twice over. We almost finished it. We got to 11 months one time, returned it,
I was just being, it was
and
a
then
joke.
we rented it again, and now we own it. It's probably giving us cancer.
I take it all back, Pat. You can pay your TV rental payments.
One of them. The second, fool me once, shame on me.
I take it all back, dude. I'm sorry.
Do you get a TV repossessed?
Not repossessed. We decided to give it back.
Can you imagine?
was the dumbest decision.
Can you imagine you walking down to like the creek or whatever, and there's just a guy in a suit, and you'd be like, How you? Hey, let me talk to you real quick, bud. Be like, heard you've been watching a lot of Netflix. Well, you've been watching that on. And you're like,
perfectly legal TV.
Yeah. Interesting that you've been paying your Netflix subscription.
Yeah, that is pretty funny, actually. Actually, I've had Netflix is the only, I think, subscription thing that I've done, probably besides Spotify, that I haven't like at some point stopped and then restarted.
Bro.
Since actually we got married, that was a gift. We got a year subscription to Netflix as a wedding gift.
Yeah.
2009.
yeah.
So since 2009, I've had Netflix.
Yeah, we've been like that with Spotify and Netflix. Yo, so Netflix is the one Steph pays for. Like we do the couple split on all the streaming apps. Netflix is the one she pays for. I didn't realize how fucking expensive it got.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
like
canceled mine.
$18.99
That's
now?
why.
Bro, it's like $25.
Yeah.
It's 25 now.
Well, okay, so there's
Wait, what do you have? Do you have ads?
baby, what do we have? No, it's like for $8 a month you get 1080p with ads. And then for like 15
Wait, for Netflix?
Netflix, yeah.
Ads on Netflix?
Yeah, they got ads now.
They have ads now.
For the
Everything-
original
That's
Netflix,
the thing they're doing now. They're putting ads in things that didn't.
For the original Netflix price.
So I'm gonna have to watch 4 hours of The Irishman now because of the ads.
Maybe.
Because it's 3.5 hours now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hits different though when it's on like Temu or Tubi or whatever it's
I
called.
don't mind Tubi.
I don't mind
I like their startup song too. Tubi.
Is that how it goes?
Because like it's like Tubi.
You're watching fucking Tubi.
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 I like it.
That's how you pick it
I think,
too.
but Tubi's free, so it's okay that it has ads.
Right. Yeah. And even Peacock has like I think we have the lowest tier maybe 16 is it 16 or whatever or there's Peacock's free. I can't remember, but they have ads on multiple tiers. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, and I'm like, this is getting crazy.
Yeah,
It really.
the paying-
we are the boomerist.
And
Boomers
there's
right now, but going like these extra buttons, they're changing my Streamlabs.
Nah, man.
Goddamn, changing the buttons on my television.
I don't accept that because
In fact, where'd the buttons go? Everything's flat and smooth.
there's something. Here's the
Hey,
thing.
sometimes you can't find the buttons, and you can't find the remote.
You gotta actually get your flashlight out and look
Yeah.
on the side. That's what I'm saying. It's like, but you're right. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, it is. I will say though, there is something that I'm not being a boomer, Pat, but there's something that really chaps my ass.
Chaps my eye.
It does irritate me where you're like, dude, to pay a monthly, because I can go get ads on fucking Tubi or whatever the fuck. It's like to pay a monthly fee and still get ads. It really chaps my ass.
Yeah, that seems like that's like paying for a broad's OnlyFans and then to have her go, then to have paid shit in that thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like
It's like paying for an
there's a couple
OnlyFans.
ones-
It's like the one time I paid for an OnlyFans and the girl censored her nipples.
Yeah, and
I
you're
mean,
like,
you
whoa,
can't-
whoa, 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 whoa. That's
no,
not
no.
what we're doing here.
No, I think it is really how like people said after like 9/11 happened, they were like, the America you grew up in is no more.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, dude, that America you grew up in where you're like, you're like, dude, $10 no ads, shit
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
I don't think
or
we're
you just like pay for things and own them.
we're not
You
in
don't
that,
even do
anymore.
Well, yeah, it's the crazy. Yeah, the like actual like digital copies of movies. I'm actually, hey, we're bringing it into the actual topic.
Oh, is that
But
what we're doing?
Are we doing No More Heroes first?
I don't know. It felt like we had to shoot the shit for a little bit.
Well, I was thinking I was thinking this exact.
This
thing.
is literally how we get into our podcast.
Okay, yeah, I
we
wasn't sure
start
what was
talking,
happening.
and about 10 minutes in, we go, this feels like a No More Heroes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But this was going like the buying movies. Actually, he's made fun of me for it, but I actually started making like hard copies of like albums that I'm buying. First of all, I'm buying albums.
Oh,
online.
I made fun of you for buying the album on Apple Music.
right. But then I would burn it to a disc because
You don't just want to buy the disc and then put it on your computer?
no,
No.
I don't want. I don't.
See,
care
if I'm
about
gonna buy the
that.
album,
to me, it's getting it.
You could buy it on vinyl, get the
Oh wait,
download
shit,
code.
guys! Sorry, real quick. Welcome to Drag the Lake. No, we can say No More Heroes.
No.
No. See, if I'm gonna buy an album, I just
Yeah.
buy the CD.
I would do that first, and then I was like, well, everything's going digital, so I'll just start buying digital, and I just started buying digital copies of shit for a while. But then I found out the licensing shit that nothing is forever anymore.
No.
Nothing is. Like you think, oh, I'll buy the I was on a good clip for a while. I'd buy the Blu-ray that had the DVD already. That's the one I lend out. Because I'm like, hey, you don't give it back? I don't give a fuck. It's a DVD. I got the Blu-ray.
Have fun with your 1080.
But then it comes with the digital download. That's the beaut, right? Then you got
I've
the
never
physical
actually
copy.
used any of the digital download code.
It's beautiful.
I don't even know if some of them are redeemable anymore.
I was gonna say you seem like a guy with a huge Blu-ray wall.
Yeah, I got like 300
Yeah.
Blu-rays.
My collection got so skewed. So like I have a pretty good Blu-ray collection, a pretty good online like digital collection, but then also like if like this can happen, just like how shit leaves Netflix, just like how shit leaves Hulu, anything like that. If their agreement is up, your purchase is fucking donezo. So it's like you don't own the movie anymore, or
Wait.
at least that copy of it.
And what was the context of owning the movie?
Of like buying a digital, like just having the digital version instead of having a hard copy of it. If their licensing or if their agreement changes, that the iTunes whatever you have is gone.
Yeah, it'll just disappear.
Like so when I
Really?
found that out, then I
Oh, okay.
went back and did all my digital ones, burned them. So I probably going forward will get the physical
Okay,
copy that
that's-
has go back to my old plan.
So the digital download was via the Apple Store.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
so
like-
if that movie leaves Apple, you don't own that movie anymore?
No.
That's psychotic.
It's crazy. That's so the only way you can actually have a physical copy. That's why I was joking in the last episode about when that guy comes, hey, paper, I got 2 pieces of paper.
Paper.
Like I've been telling Dom, I'm going to continue to buy you physical copies of books instead of getting you the Kindle version.
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, the actual value is
Well-
just going to be just paper going
Well, you know
forward.
when
Not money, not like paper.
Well, no, I first realized that when I remember I heard people kind of mention this, and I didn't take it seriously until I remember when there was like a month or two span where every week we just started finding out like sitcoms and stuff randomly did blackface.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And they would take episodes away.
and not like hard blackface, like
Dude, Seinfeld did. You know
Yeah,
that?
there was
There was the Community episode.
There was Community. There was a Scrubs episode where
Cheers,
it wasn't
I think.
like blackface, red lips. It was like JD had like painted his skin to be the same tone as Turk.
Right.
And like it was like, and then you would just find out they'd be like, oh yeah, we took that episode off of whatever streaming
Yeah,
site
yeah,
is,
yeah.
and you're like, oh yeah. And they were even, I heard rumors about it when WWE was moving platforms, like they were gonna like, you know, clean it up, take out certain things
Yeah.
from the Attitude Era, and you're
Or
like,
there was like The Simpsons when it got uploaded to Disney Plus, it was like the wrong aspect ratio, so like some of the like sight gags
Yeah.
like wouldn't hit or like didn't make sense because stuff
Yeah.
was like chopped out of the frame.
Because it was the 4:3, and
Oh,
they
shit.
readjusted it to the 16:9
by
And I
just like
remember-
zooming in.
dude,
Yeah.
literally, there was a gag.
To make it better.
There was a gag messed
You know,
up.
it's like-
there was a gag messed up that I saw someone pointed out where they were in the Duff factory, the Duff beer factory, and there were like 3 vats of Duff where it was like Duff Light, and then the third one was like the joke. I forget what it was. And in the new aspect ratio, they completely cut those. You couldn't see them.
Yeah.
And like it was funny
And
too.
you also couldn't see that it was like the same beer going into all 3 vats.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, that's right. It was like Duff Light, Duff Premium. They're all going to the same vats. It was actually that one specifically. I saw someone with like a Twitter thread. Apparently, some dude just by making fun of them got it fixed.
Yeah.
Got the whole.
Oh, wow.
There was a dude being like, guys, your fucking Simpsons gags up.
Yeah.
And then over the next couple weeks or so, they put it all back to the 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah, I think that's just it's kind of why like I understand. It's so funny. This just the second episode of Movie Month, and I get why people like get boners over directors and shit.
Bro,
Like I get it now.
dude, doing movie
Did you watch
month-
Hearts of Darkness, by the way?
Sorry?
Did you watch Hearts of Darkness? As
Dude, I
well?
literally finished it up as I was picking Tyler up.
Okay. I was wondering about that too
Dude.
because that's where I was like, holy shit, he's just a fucking
I gotta-
pussy artist.
Oh, boy, before we get into that, I do got to piggyback off
Yeah.
what you were saying is movie month is opening up something to me because I've had two big things happen. One, we did the Waterworld episode. Shout out Dave at the Creek. He was having a little bit of beef with my opinions.
Yeah.
And dude, like I haven't done one of these in a while. We were doing a table read for this movie our friend Justin's writing, and Dave tries to call me out in front of like 10 people, being like, "We got to talk about your Waterworld opinions."
Yeah.
And I'm just fucking going in on him, being like, "Bah bah bah, fucking who needs paper? What the fuck is with dirt?
Yeah.
Why are they wearing leather on the sea? Da da da." And then
Because it's cool.
but dude, it was so goddamn funny because like Dave's like, I could see, I've never seen this in Dave's face, him being like, I'm being bested.
Yeah.
He was
In
like,
my own home.
He was like, and I was like, wait a minute, movie month is opening up something in me. Am I good at talking about movies? And then also too, I wanted to say this, over on the Big Red in the Morning channel, if you enjoy movie month, I am going to be talking about the Daredevil show coming out, and then like any movies that I find interesting that don't really fit into the format or whatever the fuck. So please go check that out. And also the Daredevil thing, I was like prepping for it, reading a shit ton about Daredevil to figure out like to see if like the show fucks up with the compared to the comics.
Yeah.
And that's given me so much more. Like, I used to shit on comic book fans to be like, you guys are being such babies. They're making so many movies about, like, the shit you love.
Yeah.
But I never knew the original stories. And when you know the original stories and then you know how they just change them just cuz. Like, we were talking about Suicide Squad. Like they completely fucked up Suicide Squad from, like, the source material or whatever because...
The material?
The
source material?
The source material.
I heard it. I had to jump on it. I had to jump on it.
I did it. You're on a comic
Weird. You
podcast.
started talking about comic books, and now you talk like a baby.
Yeah.
It's not correct to the source material.
know
And
what?
I don't like it.
I find that joke offensive. But anyway.
It just scared me.
But no, that was like the thing with Suicide Squad where they had a dope-ass movie and then they had this company cut the trailer.
Yeah.
And they were like, the trailer was all fun and upbeat. And the studio was like, we like that trailer. Can you make the movie like the trailer?
Oh, Jesus.
And
I
like,
don't know if they actually made a dope ass movie.
What?
I think the first version might have also been bad.
Maybe. But
Speculative.
Yeah.
maybe. But
I'm gonna
regardless.
turn these lights on real
Yeah, it's
quick.
not like David Ayer's a master filmmaker or something.
I don't know, dude. He made the first Fast and the Furious. That dude's got shit going on. But no, it's like regardless though, you just see how the studios. It's like they take these properties that already are established. It's like, dude, open the comics. You literally have storyboards already made.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, no, we know better. And I say all this to say I have so much more sympathy for the comic book fans that were complaining constantly all through my childhood.
Well, that's a good example that you give to the source material of comic books.
The what?
Into source material.
Oh, the source material.
Made into comic books.
Thank you, Patrick.
The Marvel movies.
The Marvel movies. That is how you should talk when you talk about Marvel movies.
But in comparison to Apocalypse Now is an adaptation to Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
The novel that
Very
dude was-
loosely.
Do what?
It's loose.
Well, I mean, it's his adaptation. Like that's what
Yeah.
inspired him to
Yeah.
make the movie. So like he wanted. This is the funniest thing. We're probably gonna bounce around a ton. It's not
Sure.
gonna be, it's not gonna be a traditional. I still got my facts. I still got my research.
Oh, yeah.
But
I don't know if you know this. Pat's pretty good at making a fucking a rundown.
do you want to
Okay.
hear my notes?
Pat's got a solid
My
rundown.
I got lots of stuff I half remember too.
my favorite running bit on this as well
the book
is
I listened to.
has been the little mini titles that I give. Sometimes they stick for the episode. Sometimes they don't. I don't know if this one will work. I put this one: Apocalypse Now. Trauma-soaked psychos.
You know what my tagline is? Apocalypse Now. If you want your dreams to come true, be retarded.
Yeah, bro.
That's what I'm learning. That's what I'm learning through all these
mortgage
things.
your house.
Dude, of all of it. Even when we were talking when it was Animal Attack Month,
Yeah.
it's like if you have a big dream, approach it retarded as shit.
Well, this is the crazy correlation that I saw was Orson Welles fucking did the screen test for Heart of Darkness.
Yep.
And then they decided, it's too much, it's too costly. Foreshadowing.
Do you remember what year that was?
I think in the 30s. I believe.
Yeah.
But this is the funniest thing was he goes, I probably shouldn't do Heart of Darkness. I guess I'll do Citizen Kane. And it's like one of the biggest, most huge. Like it's probably the even still one of the best known names.
Yeah,
in
it's like the
movies.
top of like
I
every
hated it. I
historical
didn't even make it to
list
the
and-
credits.
Yeah,
But
Citizen Kane's good.
I didn't like it.
Which, tying it back to earlier, a solid Simpsons joke when they're at the Hollywood, what was it, the Hollywood Cafe or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck it's called? They're like, and the Kane from Citizen Kane. And then Lisa's like, wait a minute.
But he goes like, "Oh, I'm not going to make Heart of Darkness. I'm just going to go ahead and make Citizen Kane." Coppola originally wanted to make Apocalypse Now, and the studio was like, "I don't know. It's just going to be a lot of money." He's like, "All right, I'll just make The Godfather and Godfather 2."
Well, that's not,
It's like,
not exactly.
wait, this is that's,
No.
yeah, that's how it was explained in the movie.
No, well, because he didn't want it. So Coppola.
I literally just watched Hearts of Darkness, where his wife explained it. So if you're calling
Well, Spielberg actually.
if you're calling his wife a
well,
fucking liar,
Spielberg was actually supposed to make Apocalypse Now at first.
Oh, yeah.
because
that's
Lucas is involved. So like,
No, not
obviously
Spielberg.
there's-
Lucas. Lucas was supposed to make it. I mean,
Right.
Lucas was supposed to make it because they were buddies, and so Francis started. Francis he worked for Roger Corman, then he worked for the studios, and he made this musical called Finian's Rainbow, which was like a musical made shot in backlots on a studio set, and he hated it. And Lucas and some of other younger guys were hanging out with him, and they were like, "Well, yeah, we hate this. We wish we could make the movie on location."
They're just a bunch of
And then-
filmmakers sitting around a barrel fire going, "I fucking
Yeah,
hate
they
how
wish they
things
didn't
are.
want the
I wish things
they didn't
would
want
be
the studio
different."
tampering. So Francis started a production company with them called Zoetrope. And then they made this production company. They made this mobile van unit so they could film. And they made a road movie called The Rain People, which it's a pretty solid movie. It's got some interesting stuff in it. And then after that is Francis wanted to fund all his friends' movies. They wanted to get all these productions off the ground, and they signed a deal with a studio. I can't remember which one, but then the studio backed out on the deal and fucked them financially. And then that is why he made the first Godfather, because
Right.
he's like, we're out of money, we're broke.
Right.
And then from the Godfather's success, he was like,
Put
"Oh,
up his own personal assets and funded Apocalypse Now.
yeah."
And there was also some
Like
some
I said,
Yeah,
he
Lucas-
wanted to
Lucas-
make
and Lucas-
Apocalypse Now, couldn't afford it, and then he made Godfather and said, "I obviously hey, Tyler, I'm going to generalize."
But he didn't want to make it for a while, actually, because it's a John Milius script that they were working on, him and Lucas were working on at first. But then Lucas started doing Star Wars, and he's like, "I can't do Apocalypse."
And that was the first surprise for me, because this is a movie that I am familiar with, but I realized I probably have seen before, but probably too young or at a point where I wasn't as interested in paying attention to what was going on. But this was watching Hearts of Darkness and figuring out Lucas being involved as much as he was.
Oh, Coppola also made The Conversation in Godfather Part 2 before he made Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I said. He made Godfather and Godfather 2. And then
Well, he didn't
Apocalypse
want to
Now.
make Godfather 2, actually.
I know that makes sense, because he is such a fucking
That's what
he is
that's
such
why
a
he did.
fucking sensitive artist. He is
he's my favorite.
yeah, he's
Coppola?
yeah. I loved hearing him talk. Every time he was
He's
talking, he was just
amazing.
like,
Listening
"What the
is
fuck?"
so good.
Dude, that's why
He
that
reacts
actually-
very similar to I think how we do.
That actually, yes, that's what made me like Coppola more.
Yeah.
Is watching, especially too in the Hearts of Darkness documentary, his wife had very candid interviews with him that he didn't even know
Secretly
was being
recorded,
He
yeah.
didn't even know was being recorded.
Yeah.
And hearing him, I go, wait a minute, he just sounds like a fucking dude, which
Yeah.
I always appreciate too, because then you can tell that they have sort of a more down to earth energy to them. Now,
No, he's a manic lunatic.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
What?
He's like a manic lunatic. He's constantly just having manic episodes.
yeah,
yeah, but I mean, dude, I'll
Yeah,
take you back to
like
my
us.
Yeah, like us.
yeah. That's what we're saying.
Not even like us. I'll take you back to my last fucking day job. Half the dudes there were manic lunatics. So yeah, he is down to earth.
He'll get spicy. I'll let him chomp on me.
Dude, you were saying a thing a couple seconds ago where you were like, I think I actually may have watched this. I had a slight different version of that where I've never watched this movie, but watching it today, I realized how much of a cultural impact
Yeah.
this movie had.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm watching it going why do I know so much about this movie? And it's just
All the references,
everything
yeah.
about it. A big moment for me where when they have that big shot of the helicopters coming in, and they're playing like Flight of the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Initially, when I see that, I go, "Why does this feel corny?" And then I go, "Oh,
They
because
started
everyone
it, yeah.
ripped him off."
Yeah.
And that's
And that
what I
was
think
a
about
big
the war
thing.
movie thing. Like all the tropes in it, you're like, oh, because this you might know off the top of your head. I didn't look it up, but this and Full Metal Jacket are close to the same time frame, right? Kubrick and him, like, is it the both? I didn't actually.
This is 79.
Wasn't Full Metal Jacket 78 or 80? It's like got to be close, right? Sorry,
87.
80. Well, not even. Okay, so I'm just thinking. So this is the one that kind of started this type of like,
Yeah.
we're in the shit, man. Like
Oh,
that kind
and
of like,
also-
yeah.
I mean, also Full Metal Jacket was filmed like in London.
Okay.
I also-
like,
Yeah,
on
the
set.
whole thing was
Okay.
filmed in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized
Yeah, they
too.
weren't in the shit. I mean,
No.
like the I meant like that view, that not necessarily like the actual like filming
Yeah.
on set.
No, no
in
one
the
wanted to
shit.
make this movie because no one wanted. They're like,
why would we go
why would
Wait.
we make a Vietnam movie now?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You were saying this was the beginning of like this type of movie, and
Yeah.
watching this movie made me realize. I go, there's two type of Vietnam movies. There's Vietnam movies where they use Credence, and there's Vietnam
Yeah.
movies where they use The Doors.
yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
the Doors one.
Yeah. That was my first thought watching this, and I'm sorry. I really am truly sorry. This isn't Drag the Lake, but I realized
movie?
how much I
Wait.
disliked The Doors. Like watching this, I'm just like, I go, ugh, shut up,
Oh,
you fucking douchebag.
So I
It
just
is
got
so
into The
perfect
Doors
that Val
last
Kilmer,
year.
Val Kilmer played that guy
Because of that movie. That's why I got
because
into
they're
it.
yeah, like he's
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I
That
already
movie
have
rips.
a suggestion.
But wait, I don't even think that's a bad movie. But I remember that when I watched that movie, I go, were they trying to get me to like Jim Morrison? Because this guy fucking sucks ass.
I walked away
saying.
thinking he rules. So.
Dude, Jim Morrison sucks ass, dude. A fucking poet who will not face the crowd for like the first year of
Yeah.
being an artist, and he's standing on the roof. I'm a gold god, or maybe that's Almost Famous. I
Yeah,
can't
you're thinking of
remember.
Almost Famous.
But almost, that guy's based off of him or something. I don't know.
It's based on true events.
I'm right if you squint your eyes the right way.
But no, I'm almost strictly like I love the band, but like him,
dude, the band's
like, in
crazy.
particular, I don't necessarily love Jim Morrison.
No,
But,
I thought
like,
the band was the rest of the band members were a bunch of nerds in the movie.
Oh no. Okay, speaking of bands, see, I knew we were gonna jump all over the place. Sorry, but the USO show. I want to pose this to two fellow autists. Please, why did they have a full band at the fucking titty show? Did you notice that when the helicopter's pulling away, there is a fucking drummer,
Yeah.
a bassist, a guitar player, a fucking keyboardist, and I'm like, that's not necessary. Nobody's here to hear boom, ding, doom, doom, boom, 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 boom.
I think that's
Like,
probably
just get
because
the speaker system.
Well, no, but that's the thing. I think it's actually probably easier to back then. It's probably easier to have a band than to play music. Maybe
Yeah, probably.
I would.
that's
think
my guess.
They have speakers. They got fucking
yeah,
loudspeakers.
but you can't
and
just
shit.
you can't just like hook up a laptop like you could now.
Everybody's there for the titties.
No, I know, but you
Did you
need-
just want silence?
You
and
can't
tits?
just have
know what?
titties like with silence. You need a little tunes.
No.
in the
That's what I'm saying.
background.
Throw fucking. All right, play something on your phone over
Yeah,
the.
yeah. Someone whipped their phone out in the Vietnam
Just
War.
fucking pull up Spotify, you fucking morons.
Yeah,
I
why-
know you don't get signal, but you don't think the government's got Wi-Fi? Come on. They built the phones over there.
That dance scene was really funny because it's really like it really just takes one dude to jump the barrier
That's
for
what-
everyone to go like, wait, we can rape these women?
Yeah, it's so funny because I'm like, I still am not sure if I had seen this movie yet by this point, but I'm watching this thinking like, oh, you got to jump over that barbed wire.
Dude, you would have been
You're
great.
gonna die out here. Just do it.
You would have been
Go,
great.
just go grab her boob.
You would have been fucking great in Vietnam, dude.
You know what Dom said as we're watching the movie together, and she's like, "Were women in the army at this time?" I was like, I don't know, maybe.
No, they only killed teenage boys back then.
So do you want to try to start? We can start. Fine. I
Do a little-
did notes.
Okay.
I got notes, guys.
Yeah, give us a timeline we can
So
follow.
238 principal days. Of
Oh
production.
yeah.
In the Philippines, It was originally based on The Heart of Darkness. We already talked about that. It was a novel about an ivory trader named Kurtz that goes into the Congo to enlighten the natives. Orson Welles was originally tested for the role of Kurtz for that, but the studio decided it was too expensive, and he went and made Citizen Kane. He said, all right, I'll just make that epic movie. Every time someone wanted to make this movie, they settle for a more popular movie. Was the note that I originally they were making Apocalypse Now, and they're like, it's too expensive, we're out of it, you got to do something else, and they're like, all right, Godfather. It's like, whoa.
That is funny to be like, well, I can't make Apocalypse Now. I guess I'll make one of the greatest movies to ever be made.
The movie that will influence other movies and film art in general from now on.
Yeah.
Forever will always be referenced. Like,
Yeah.
It's crazy that they were just like, meh. So, $13 million budget originally, and Coppola leveraged his family's personal assets to fund the movie.
Yeah,
so, like,
that was
if this didn't, I think it was, I can't remember the actual figures. They say,
Yeah, because he kept taking out more and more loans.
Yeah.
There was a funny figure where they were like,
And
if
the interest
he-
was like insane.
yeah. And
If-
and Marlon Brando agreed for 3 weeks of shooting for $1 million a week,
Yeah.
and with a $1 million guaranteed down.
and he agreed to not show up fat as shit.
That's crazy.
And
That's in his contract.
Which he showed
And
up
it's like-
fat as shit.
It's crazy that was like in his contract. So this
That's
is
my absolute favorite tidbit about the movie.
Yeah.
Brando was like, yeah, I'm going to show up to this jungle movie
Yeah.
fat as fuck.
I haven't gotten down to like in his pictures too. He's beautiful. Like he's just like obviously fake pictures probably, but you might know this. So Marlon Brando he was in The Godfather.
Yeah.
That's not what made him though, right?
No, he was around long before
Like
that.
in the 40s, right? Street. What was it? Streetcar Named Desire.
Yeah, Streetcar Named Desire, On
Like
the
he's
Waterfront.
the one that's he was like Stella, right?
Yeah.
Was that him? Stella.
I haven't
detective.
seen Streetcar. I've seen On the Waterfront.
Okay. So like he is already at this point an established like crazy
Yeah, he's
guy
known for being crazy already.
and difficult.
Yeah, like the studio didn't want him on Godfather.
Wait, isn't there a story about Brando? I could be mixing up actors. Isn't there a story about Brando where he was talking to a director and they were doing a scene where they were like roughing up a girl, and then they were like, what if we actually
Last
assault-
Tango in Paris.
Yeah.
I
Really?
think.
What was
Wow.
you probably know the detail. They were like, what if we actually like
I think Last Tango. I think
assault
that's what I'm
this
thinking.
girl?
I noticed a trend with Marlon Brando of using interpreters to sexually assault women.
Really?
Like, and one interpreter for when did a little sneak peek. I would love, and I'll nominate this now because it's a movie that I personally love. But
Essay of the year.
The Island of Dr. Moreau. For
Oh, that's another
our next
incredible fat Brando.
movie. Yeah.
Ooh.
And
He's also got a
he's-
little
and
guy.
but he shows up for
Got
that
a
one.
little guy sidekick.
He's got his favorite little guy.
Oh, that one. That's the plane boss?
No,
No, that's
Hervé Villachez.
There's an amazing scene where Brando's playing
Wait,
the
where is that
piano,
fucking
and then
thing?
the little guy is playing a tinier piano.
He
on
requested
top
that
of.
scene. That's not in the
No,
story.
him and Val Kilmer ran such a muck on that.
They
movie.
had okay. So we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but
Yeah.
if you would like to do Island of Dr. Moreau,
There's a
there's
documentary
plenty of
for it
fuckery.
too.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
What's that one called?
I can't remember off the top of my head,
I'll look
but
that
it's
one up,
solid.
yeah.
I was thinking of Fantasy Island.
But no, hey, but you're right. A crazy.
When you said crazy guy on an island with a little guy, I was like, deplane, boss.
Stanley, come on.
You know,
But wait, what's the
you know
deal
that
with-
in
I'm
South
sorry, I
Park,
was Googling
the
it. What's the-
scientist in South Park?
I remember that one, yeah.
That's based off Dr.
So wait,
Moreau.
what's the deal with Dr. Moreau? Why was this going to fit
well,
in?
well because Marlon Brando is super difficult on it. and
Big fat
well,
rapist?
but
Val Kilmer was also super difficult on it.
they're in the
Ooh.
Australian outback filming that,
Nice.
and he has his interpreter is his sister
Yeah.
for like using because again they're using and like in this movie,
He needs an interpreter in Australia?
well they're using like Aboriginals
Gotcha, okay.
for extras and stuff like that, and he was trying to hit on the young Aboriginal girls via his sister.
That's not good.
And also in Hearts of Darkness, it's talked about some of the problems that Marlon Brando was kind of being again. I don't know how she puts. I can't remember how she puts it exactly, but it was very trying to get close with the native women that they were using. So when they get to Cambodia, at that point, realistically, they're using actual like natives.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the ritual they do with the cow is a real ritual.
That's a real
that
dead
Yeah,
cow
I remember
does.
hearing about
They
that.
killed the shit out of that cow.
Dude, I love when you found out Marlon Brando showed up fat as shit. My immediate thought, I go, that's why he's in the shadows so much at the end of the movie.
Yeah, but he knows how to use those shadows so well.
And the face paint. I remember thinking, like, he has the face paint. I'm like, oh, they built that jawline for him.
There was just
Anytime he's-
foundation.
Yeah.
They painted on a jawline.
He looks so crazy. But in Island of Dr. Moreau, he's probably just as difficult. Him and Val Kilmer kind of have a difficult off during that production. And I'm also noticing a huge through line already through our movie month that every time with these problem productions on big budget movies with big Hollywood stars, they always act like babies because they're going through divorces.
Really?
Yes, because we'll talk about it for Island of Dr. Moreau, but he is just as difficult and is in a lot more of that movie. So you get to see more of Fat Brando, and they paint his
so
face
fucking
fucking bright, goddamn white. His whole head is white, and he's in this big Hawaiian shirt, and he's playing piano with this fucking midget on his piano, playing a little piano,
That rules.
and it's a serious movie. It's not a comedy,
Yeah.
but it's great.
So, well, I mean, that sounds awesome.
It's not ironic. I love that movie, but it is not, I don't think, like the best version of that story, probably.
Yeah.
But again, based on a book. So after 1 week of shooting, Coppola decided to replace the leading man, Willard, who was originally played by Harvey Keitel. You know that?
Yeah, apparently it was just completely
yeah.
wrong. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, he said it wasn't working. And
Martin Sheen.
got Martin Sheen, who at that point was like, he goes, I'm past my prime. I'm too old. I'm 36.
Bro.
By the way, he wasn't even 36 at the time, which is hilarious.
How old was he?
He was his birthday. You know the scene where he's in the,
Oh, yeah, he turned 36 while he
That
was
was the day.
drunk and cut his hand open.
apparently most of them, like most of the people on the production, actors, directors, people, everybody were drunk or stoned or on
Yeah.
LSD or on some kind
Yeah,
of
during
drug.
I think the USO scene or the bridge scene, the guy who played Lance was actually on acid.
Yeah, he actually did take acid.
Jesus.
Like,
Yeah,
so-
that's what I thought was crazy. Martin Sheen, when he was like dancing drunk in his room.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Well, they did that. They did that because apparently he was like they filmed a little bit with Sheen, and he like I don't know this character. I can't
he wasn't
get
like
into it."
opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like I just feel like I'm not doing anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
and
then
then Francis and him like got the cinematographer, and the three of them just like got fucked up in that hotel
Dude,
room.
and also at that part, I remember listening to that in the Hearts of Darkness, where he was like, Martin Sheen was talking to Francis Ford Coppola, and he was just like, who? I don't know who my character is. Who is my character? And he just goes, your character is you.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, he's got nothing.
no, but
Because-
that's the thing. Francis, he's a guy who throughout his whole career, he's a guy who lives his movies.
Yeah.
In a way that like most directors don't. Like he has to live through them, and that's why like Apocalypse Now was getting rewritten the whole time.
That's the thing. That's the thing I was gonna get at. Whereas, like, I had so much respect for how unhinged Francis Ford Coppola was just like writing, like just figuring it out as it goes along. That's why fucking Brando being fat was my favorite part. Where he's like, so obviously Brando, he's been in the jungle forever. He's gonna be skinny and stuff, and then
Yeah.
he shows up and he's fat as shit. And he's like, I have to completely rewrite the end of the movie.
Why is he out of breath? He's laying down.
Well, and the movie also was supposed to end with like a big battle sequence, and originally in the John Milius script, and Francis is like, the movie I've ended up making, it gets so surreal and weird that I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't do a big battle.
a
at the
big
end.
battle would have been weird.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of
he
that
like wrote
movie.
himself into a corner where he's like, I don't know how to end this movie.
But yeah, dude, it almost felt like it was the most expensive episode of Curb. The way that they were just sort of like, I have my beats and we'll sort of figure it out as we go was super impressive because like, it was so funny finding out Martin Sheen was drunk and the fucking breaking the mirror was on accident. And Francis Ford Coppola actually wanted to stop the scene early. Martin Sheen's like, no, let's keep it going. Because that whole part just made so much sense while it was happening while I was watching the movie.
Yeah, when he said, like, I had a dream that I was talking to an Army Ranger, and he told me this is how Martin Sheen would be as an Army Ranger. He'd be very vain, and he'd be focusing on his lips and on his hair. And it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Yeah, it's like that's and like I think I
Yeah.
thought the same thing of like you said, you got nothing. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? You had a dream, like.
But I
and-
guess you got
And then
nothing-
Martin Sheen's doing fucking Tai Chi in the and he's just like,
He's like drunk,
And
crying,
he's like,
rubbing blood all over his face.
Yeah, but just realizing how much he's figuring it out on the fly was insane. And to do that in another country, like
Yeah.
where were they at? The Philippines?
Philippines.
To do that in the middle of the Philippines, and with you got local tribes that you have to sit through a ceremony so they can trust
They're
you.
going through a civil war. They have
Bro.
white people and black people in the Philippines are fighting a civil war.
Yeah, and they were
that's
using
all.
army helicopters that would just fly away to go fight rebels, like in the middle of shots.
That's right.
Yeah.
They were like, you can borrow these helicopters, but if we need them,
They had
we're gonna take them back.
They had the general in one of the fucking chairs in one of the shots for Hearts of Darkness, where like the battle scene they're trying to film with the helicopters.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, there's rebels 10 miles away. So like during that shot, like you said, they're like, he's like, oh, they took all of them. He's like, they said they're taking 2. He's like, they took 6. Or 5 or whatever
The
it was. And he's
helicopters.
like, yeah, and the guy just they just went to go fight
Yeah, and because
the
of that,
real
there would be
war.
like different guys every day flying the helicopters.
Not
and,
only
like,
were they
so like
afraid-
the choreo, they'd have to like relearn the choreography every day of
Yeah.
like.
Not only are they afraid that they're actually going to get attacked by the rebels for like during shooting, but also they're like it's fucking up production because they're renting these helicopters from them.
Yeah.
So it's like fucking with the budget. It's fucking with the shooting schedule, obviously, and then each day they're getting new pilots. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So like they're switching out the pilots constantly because they're like, all right, this is essentially a day off for you. Like you're getting just to fly these helicopters. This is like a leave. So the people that learn these the choreographed shots and stuff like that, they're pulled away and they're like now they have to explain everything to these guys. So they're losing so much time just because of this stupid civil
and
war.
then they have to interpret that, and then they're wasting a lot of time because Brando's trying to fuck the pilots.
He's not even there yet.
It's like no, tell her Mile High Club. Mile High Club. Does she know about the Mile High?
Ask her if she'll suck it while I fly.
So yeah, that was the next part I had. Why'd they have a full band? I don't know why. That really was a note that I put. Why'd they have a full band at the USO show? Even for shooting, you would think you would have saved money just because when they had Flight of the Valkyries playing, they didn't have like a whole orchestra under the goddamn thing. They had the speakers. Just play speakers with music. Like you can play. Like
No, this movie, nothing about it. It's all excessive. It's
I
full
think-
like maximalism. Like,
but if we're thinking about it, you got the lights, you got the stage, you got the tits. What else do you need? You know what I mean?
Sure,
you
dude.
need a band.
You're right.
That really chaps my
It's
ass.
really, you know what? It makes no sense there was a band. They should have had a PA system with
Yeah.
a turntable.
Thank you. Good morning, Vietnam. And
That's
then
why-
Rob Williams plays a fucking record over the goddamn thing, and then they just turn the radio on.
Yeah, and then they can add to the Vietnam cinematic universe.
Thank you.
Everyone's just in it. Yeah, man. Where were you gonna go next? Because I wanted to cum my pants over the cinematography at some point.
The movie looks like nothing else.
It's
Looks like that.
dude. I gotta say, it's
Victorio Storaro.
the
Or it's Victor,
best
something
looking
like that.
movie I've ever
This
seen.
this is the really
It's
interesting
fucking gorgeous.
to speak to casting and also the visuals because knowing of how crazy this was of like a shoot like production wise and just in general like with weather with like the war and all this other shit, the things that they were able to get done.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, there's so many
practically. Still, again,
insane,
very practical.
long shots,
Yeah.
like tracking shots and stuff that like you're like so many things are happening,
Yeah.
and to like go reset and start at one,
Yeah.
would take
Bro.
hours.
And then there's like
Yeah.
there's like
You're like,
little.
how did they do this?
Well, they're saying like shots that they like that will take 2 days to set up. They're asking them to do in like hours,
Dude,
and shit
they're-
like that. And
like, the
it's-
intricacies of some of those fucking shots where like I realized it when he's doing the famous nothing like the smell of napalm in the
Yeah, yeah.
morning. Like he's there, they're on sand like in the middle of the water. You've got 2 helicopters flying by. You have a whole slew of actors playing Vietnamese people walking up. There's and like fires are happening,
Yeah.
and then you see a
Explosion.
tank
Yeah,
go
yeah.
by or a truck or whatever. It's like so many and then this guy just has to hit the sickest line ever.
Yeah.
You know, like so many things
Duvall,
are happening in
Robert
the
Duvall.
scene.
Obviously, I know a lot of that. I'm not familiar, but I think my theory is a lot of it's obviously in post, but like the stuff where he's like, where like there's these explosions going off right by him, and everybody else is going,
Yeah.
like, and he's just going like, yeah, you like surfing? Like, check it out. See how
No,
it breaks? Look how it breaks,
I think
man.
there's real things just blowing up underneath it. Like
That's
next
what I'm
to him.
wondering. Is like his discipline to not react during that thing. Is it's either that's very impressive, either he's got earplugs in or some shit like that, and he's not actually seeing the flashes. And because I noticed everybody else is like looking that way and they're like ducking, but he's like looking away from them. But they're happening like feet away from him in real time. Like you can see the flash behind him.
Dude, you guys make an interesting point of like how they shoot it, because you could literally fucking Francis Ford Coppola could have just told the pilots, they're like, yeah, man, just fly back and forth for like an hour, and we'll let you know. And it's like the people, they were the Vietnamese people they're having walk. They could just have them like walk back and forth. It's like, just do stuff while we crush these scenes.
Yeah,
but
don't
also
walk
there's
over
so
there.
There's so much intricate choreography to all of it.
Yeah,
In
but
the
you
chaos of it.
You realize too, the way they film it, there's like endless versions of this movie that could happen and it still makes sense and be really good.
And there's smart.
So much of this movie comes down to the editing.
And there's so many smart ways.
And the editing process was fascinating.
And there's so many smart ways that I feel like visually it's a plus. It probably helps for like the coordination and the extras. And also I'm sure that there is a practical version of this in a real war where the flares they're using, I noticed throughout the whole time they have these different color
so
smoke bombs.
There was those are used for different things, but at a certain point, the cast was just fucked up, and they liked throwing them off.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, these colors rule." It's like have this. That's why the movie started becoming more and more psychedelic.
Right. Yeah.
Stranger.
And how he explains it, like I think what it is it's truthfully. I really do believe him. Like usually you would think this guy is probably just making lemons out of lemonade, but I think as the movie was going, he's realizing what the movie he wants to make is, like through rewrites, through like just practical of like, okay, well,
he's
can't
going
get this
through
shot.
his
This
own
isn't gonna
heart
happen.
of darkness.
Right? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you said, he's living through this.
Yeah,
and
he's
like,
going down the river with Martin Sheen.
Yeah. Legitimately, this whole time he tells Martin Sheen it's a 13-week shoot. Like everybody thinks this is going to be like like we got it.
Like 2 years.
Yeah, it's 238 days. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's insane. Yeah.
But then afterwards, he's like, but like you said, all this shit that's happening is like now it's almost like a documentary of like if we had crisis actors pretend this was the Vietnam War. Like real life, like what's the worst case scenario as we go? So like the deeper they're going, like there's no leadership. He says in one of the things, I think it's the beginning of Hearts of Darkness, his explanation of what Apocalypse Now became. He's like, it was the Vietnam War. It was way over bloated budget wise. He said it was super chaotic.
They brought an
and
American
unpredictable.
Hollywood production to the jungle.
Yeah. It's like all of this shit. Like he literally we were in a place that we should not have been. Like it was like
Dude, for real, they're
like
we're gonna go into an area we don't completely understand very confidently that we're just gonna be able to dominate it, and it's like, no, you got butt fucked by the terrain, all that shit.
This is the connecting fiber that I didn't realize was in it because but Dennis Hopper's in this movie too. He was in Waterworld.
Dude, I wasn't sure about that,
Yeah.
and then when I watched Hearts of Darkness, I go, that was Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, and he was on a pretty steady diet of, I believe it was speed. No, he was on. No, that's what the guy was. The guy who said he was on acid in the thing. He said, I didn't really do a lot of drugs while I was there, except for speed and marijuana.
Except for one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, except for craziness. But what's his face? Dennis Hopper was on a bunch of cocaine and a bunch of weed and
That makes
booze
sense.
Yeah,
shit
and
like that.
and Brando actually hated him.
Yeah.
That's why the
That's why
movie's
they're
like
not
that.
that's why he threw that at him.
Yeah, that's why he's like throwing shit at him, calling him mutt. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like no, Brando like actually did not fuck with him the
That
whole
rules.
time.
Yeah. Dude, we gotta talk.
And I was kind of over Dennis Hopper after a while. I was like, I get it. I get this guy, but like, I don't understand. Like, I just felt like he was kind of I don't know. I don't know if he was unnecessary.
He was supposed to be the guy who like, I really fucking get it, man. But you're
Yeah.
like, you're almost. I'm trying to think.
Everybody else was so serious at that point. You know what I mean? Like there's the tribes people. There was.
Oh, you're
the-
saying it didn't like fit in, right?
Yeah, like except for him just to go like, "Hey man, this is where you got to park, man. Hey, come on over here, man." And like, and it's just like, it's like I don't know. Like I just kind of felt.
No, I think he's important. I think he's saying like his character is saying something in the larger context of the movie.
like he's gonna show like he's because
Like-
that's the other thing is like I also thought
it
like,
is. I think he's like commenting on like journalism within war.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
I guess that's what it
I-
said. It just felt like a statement.
No, I
Like,
think
it didn't
that's-
feel like a character. It felt like just
I
a
think
just a statement.
I think Tyler's right because that's kind of that you're helping me get to what I was getting at, where he's sort of like in the midst of things, figuring out like forcing in a narrative where you think a lot like it's like whenever you see footage from a protest and there'll be like two people fighting and you realize they're surrounded by 20 citizen journalists
Yeah.
and you're like this. You start realizing like this is not an organic situation at all.
Yeah.
So like you can see that from journalists where there's a lot of journalists who want to add their little sheen. They want to zhuzh up the thing
Yeah.
to make it their own thing. And that's what he's doing is like adding all that. I really want to talk about Martin Sheen's heart attack.
Yeah, that was actually.
That was the craziest shit. I almost like I was like not paying attention to traffic when I heard that. I kept looking at my radio like, wait, what? Because he gets a heart attack in the middle of shooting, has to go away and
for 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks,
So
and
they go-
still have a lot of important shit to shoot with him. And
Well, the funny thing
fucking-
was, I thought the greatest thing was the fact that they were like, "All right, well, we'll just shoot a bunch of the principal stuff with like his double from behind, like, and we'll just get a bunch of that stuff done. So like we'll still be productive." And and like that's like the one time they're ahead of schedule, and they get done in like 4 weeks, and then they're like,
yeah, they had to find a bunch of shit to keep filming.
Yeah, and then there was also the whole monsoon that happened,
"Oh yeah,
and
that
then
was the next
like
thing."
they destroyed sets, and then Francis like, well, let's just write some scenes in the rain.
Yeah.
the last thing
that
I
was crazy. Yeah,
that's
they
a-
wanted to use the weather. They had this whole scene that they filmed, and they did all this stuff, and they just cut it from.
Well, it's in the Redux.
It's in Redux. Yeah.
Yeah,
The last thing I wanted to say about his heart attack, it was just funny. They played like phone calls with Francis Ford Coppola in the documentary. Basically, like you could hear it in his voice, just downplaying the heart attack.
Yeah, and he's
Being-
like, he
'cause
didn't
he's
have
like-
a heart attack.
Because he's just but he's like the doctor said if he's like sitting down, he can fucking talk into the camera.
yeah, he's like, he didn't have a heart attack until I said he had a heart attack.
Yeah, dude, it makes me realize
Because
like
also because he was doing this movie on his own without a studio, the big studios at the time wanted him to fail so badly, and the trade papers were constantly writing articles about
That's right,
how the
yeah.
production was a disaster.
I like the one headline that they posted it in. It was "Apocalypse when."
I saw that.
But this is the thing.
Whoa.
Coppola's
annoyed
this has
me.
been a problem in Coppola's career his whole career, because he's always trying to like change the system in some way, go
Yeah.
outside the system, go around it.
Yeah. That also annoyed me too because it reminded me of every like fucking murder doc when they fuck the case up because the news is like, we need to report on this. What have you found? What have you found? And then the cops like speed through it and they get blinders on because they're like, we need some sort of results.
Yeah.
And you're just like, hey man, there's other shows.
Yeah.
Fucking wait, let him make his movie.
Yeah.
That shit always irks me. I go, it's like Apocalypse when it's fucking done. How about that?
So I just wanted to touch on this real quick. So 16 weeks into production. This is before the monsoon. This is before the heart attack. Marlon Brando, they're communicating with Brando like, hey, we're going to need some extra time.
You're
We're
not
gonna
fat
do
as shit, right?
We're going to do rewrites. But no, and this is the funny thing is he contacts them, or his lawyer contacts him back, Coppola, and says like, oh yeah, he may drop out and he's going to keep the $1 million.
I heard that.
And it's just like, and like I remember, so that was the thing. I thought I wasn't sure how of Marlon Brando's history necessarily, because I was like, has he always been difficult? Because he's like, Marlon wouldn't do that. Like you could hear in the
I think he
tapes.
got more difficult the older he got,
Yeah.
and also like he would never learn lines. He would read off cue cards.
the other thing.
I think
Yeah.
Marlon Brando had the same. I was assuming he was kind of like a Kanye type, where if you see old Kanye, he was eccentric, but he's still sort of like
before he got like.
he
I mean, he
delivered.
did
Before
like,
he was the
like
guy-
a game-changing actor when
Yeah.
he came. When
Yeah.
his like style of
But
acting.
no, what I'm saying is
did,
how like Kanye, before he became the guy who could do no wrong to people, and now he's the guy who does everything wrong. But no, before he became the guy who was just, oh, he's a good rapper and he's a good producer, you could see the eccentric nature, but he would keep it like reserved. He wasn't calling himself God yet.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was what I was assuming on Brando and shit like that.
So when that was happening, he was like, "What if Marlon Brando drops out, then we'll get somebody else." Like he was trying to say like whatever, but we just need to figure out if he's going to do it.
I liked that a lot about Francis Ford Coppola, where he's like, I'm not going to let Brando bitch us up. If we don't have him, fine. We'll figure it out.
The names he dropped, and could you imagine how different the movie would be with any of these? Robert Redford was one of them he noticed. Jack Nicholson or Al Pacino. Al Pacino, dude. Can you imagine? That was something that really struck me because him going like, all right, well, can't do Apocalypse Now, doing Godfather 2, and then he does Apocalypse Now, and it's a lot of Godfather cast, like a lot of people in it.
well, he loves reusing people.
But like that's the thing is like seeing it. I'm not going like I like it when Scorsese does it. I like it when fucking Coppola does it because it just reminds me of like you're not making the same movie over and over again. And like yes, you may make a couple that are similar. Like if you make Godfather, then Godfather 2. But then like if you do Apocalypse Now, it's like this is nothing like Godfather. But you have fucking what's his name? God damn, I have the cast here. What's the guy? The Napalm guy?
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall. You've got fucking Marlon Brando, obviously. You've got wasn't Jerry Sizemore or Zimmer? Zismore? I don't know. He might have been in it.
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
This guy, the guy that when the CIA was coming in.
Oh, yeah, he might have been in. I can't remember if he's in
like-
The Godfather.
and then,
Is
like,
he in The Godfather?
I think so, yeah. But like a couple other people in there, like
Which I love that scene where he's getting told about the mission.
Yeah.
I love. There's a part where the main guy that's not the guy you just showed me,
who was like
or
wasn't he like a senator
Harrison
in Godfather or something like that? Wasn't he
possibly.
or something like that? I can't remember.
My
but,
brain,
yeah.
brain's not remembering, but the way when he starts talking about the mission and about Kurtz,
Yeah.
in the distance you start hearing the helicopter blades going, and they get louder and louder as he's talking.
Yeah, yeah.
And like the sound design in that scene is so good, and the whole movie is so. They like theaters had to get new speakers for this movie.
Really?
Yeah, they created new audio.
Like that's the thing is like he does like you said Apocalypse when it's whenever the fuck it gets made is because at the end of it he delivers. Like Coppola actually gives you something where you're like, whoa, this is
Even
fucking
if he-
crazy.
Well, some people tried to write it off as a disaster still,
Really?
but then it like just kept making money and like it became undeniable.
So May 18th, 1976 was the first day of heavy rains. And that was when it was slowing production because the typhoon comes off the coast of Manila, killing 200. They wanted nobody on the production, just civilians. And then they wanted to utilize the weather for shots, but then they got edited out of the final cut, at least theatrically, before Redux. Mm-hmm. And then the production was sent home for a couple weeks to recoup. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's something nice, but like you said, him being a manic
Yeah.
person in general, he is sleeping outside. They're camping outside of their house back home. He's having these. He has that weird nightmare. He's like, "Oh, I know how to finish the script. Or I know how to do this." And I know I'm like, he's still like the whole time he's off trying to recoup. He's just working and just
That stuff always makes me laugh because I'm just like, I'm happy you guys are like that over there.
Right.
But if I had, I don't know if I could deal with that. I don't like. I was joking before, like we shot a sketch like a week or two ago. I did a table read. That stuff's fun. And the table read we did, it was for a script that has like the same energy of like waiting. And I go, that stuff's fun. I'd kill to be on a movie set like that. But this whole like I don't know, man. Like the more we talk about this, every time now when I hear the word on location, I'm like, dude, I'm good.
So this is the drug note that I saw. It was Coppola and many members of the cast and crew were either drunk or taking drugs during filming.
Yeah, Coppola's smoking weed like crazy the whole time.
Actor Sam Bottoms was taking huge amounts of LSD and marijuana, and the legendary Dennis Hopper was taking a daily drug and alcohol treatment that could kill him anytime.
What?
It could kill him at any time is what it says. A half a gallon of drink and many grams of cocaine.
That's great.
Many grams.
Yeah, movies used to be so much cooler.
Yeah.
Like they weren't acting. Like I got to tell you, they weren't acting.
Yeah.
They were improving inebriated.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah, like,
That's all this
um,
was. Oh, that's a good
I
the guy-
forget
title,
what-
too.
The guy who plays Chef, I think, like actually was like freaking out
Yeah.
about stuff and like that.
The
like,
tiger. No, he.
Yeah, the actual tiger thing. And then
was like,
Francis
"That
is like,
thing-"
"That's your character. Like
Yeah.
that's it. Like you found him."
Yeah.
I gotta say, by the way,
Happy
that
accident.
scene,
And then like the never leave the boat thing became his mantra for like the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
that scene when the tiger does like pump check,
Yeah.
pump fake him.
They're just dragging a pig.
That is they're like walking through the trees and it's all blue and shit.
Yeah.
That's like the most stunning part of the movie to me. Just like in that little moment, I was like, this movie is so fucking cool looking.
It's so terrifying.
It's so
Yeah.
amazing. Every fucking shot, dude. When at the end, like, and I've seen it before, but when his head comes out of the water,
Yeah.
and they got the lighting from the fire and all this other shit, it's just every moment of it looks amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. The like the symbolism is nice, but like it's the
That's
the
why-
visuals that I think are what really get me.
I was telling Tyler walking over here, I got so wrapped up in just the visuals and things like that and plot points that, like, I feel like watching and learning about this movie, all I feel like I've done is come to like the first day where the teacher handed out the syllabus. I was like, I still got a lot more fucking classes to go to on this. Like, it's like a lot of times when you watch a movie, like the average movie, you watch it and you're like, I got most of it, and then you watch it again, and little things here and there pop up. This one, I go, I barely scratched the surface on this whole fucking thing because, like, dude, the whole fact that I didn't know how haphazardly this whole thing was put together, that adds a whole element to it. Like, so much, there's just so much to dig into on this movie.
It was
But haphazard, but with like a level of like unbelievably insane production design. And
Yes,
like,
that's the other part of it too, where
Yeah.
you're like I joked before, I was like, you filmed this like a fucking episode of Curb, but it also it's one of the best looking movies I've ever fucking seen.
But like it's finding because of the scale of it, and that's the thing. That's what gained my respect for filmmaking in general. Like the scale of what they have to like. If
Crazy what they have.
knowing what we like you said, what we have to do just to say like, okay, just plan 4 people's day to be at this part for this much amount of time.
Yeah.
And just go try to remember these things.
It's like, oh, the shoot's taking an hour longer than we thought it was
Yes,
going.
whatever it may be. But like this is legitimately, you have to make sure people are in the country that are here. Then they're doing this. And then when you get there, and then you're like, something like find your character. Like I've given you lines. I've given you outlines of how I want this to go, where we're going to go. But it all changes anyway.
yeah.
So not only do you have to think on the fly, but it's changing. That's not as daunting as it is the long-term toll I think this movie takes on a lot of people, just acting-wise.
Yeah, we didn't even
like
talk
health-wise.
about Lawrence Fishburne. He was like 16 or something.
14.
14. Yeah, even
14.
younger.
Playing a 17-year-old. And it's like, okay, so we're not even going to establish child labor law at all. Like he is in the Philippines doing that. But it's also like I watched that whole entire movie and I did not realize that was Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
I never even
I
realized
had
until they
a-
go like, that was 14-year-old. And I was like, holy shit.
I had the same as when
I knew he was in it.
I had
just
the
didn't-
same as when Dennis Hopper popped up. I go, this guy kind of looks like Lawrence Fishburne. But then I was like, I don't think he's in this. And then when he was in the doc, I go, oh, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like watching this whole thing and him and then just thinking like even a 14-year-old going through that. Like, because if you think about a 17-year-old in war, he's essentially a 14-year-old. He's sitting there listening to his mom, I think, read that letter that she sent to him. Remember, he's listening
Yeah.
to the audio tape when he gets, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
when he gets shot on the river. Like, it's this thing where you're like, it's because he's like, they're just scared young men. There's nobody qualified at all, and like, but
That
again,
scene is so.
That is what I
devastating.
really
Yeah.
like. That's what I really like about
I
a well-made...
didn't know how invested I was in him as the character until that point, and you're realizing like, oh shit, like
With like the audio of the tape still playing
Yeah.
over, it's
it was
like,
That's
such a
what-
powerful thing, and I was just
Yeah.
like, that is crazy that this is the same guy that did The Godfather.
That's
Like,
what
it's
that's what I really appreciate about when war movies do that, because if you watch like a movie like Black Hawk Down or some shit like that it just looks like a bunch of men.
Yeah.
But it's like you need to realize like a lot of it's why it's a World War II doc, I think, from the British point of view, where Peter Jackson directs it, and it's like it's called like They Won't Grow Old or some shit, because you're like, dude, they're sending children off to this. That's why I think it was Dunkirk. It was the one that the
Christopher Nolan one.
was that the one that One Direction was in?
Yes.
Fucking Harry Styles.
Yeah.
All the dudes in that movie looked like children,
Yeah.
and I go, yeah, that's a thing people forget in these. It's like you're mostly sending like teenagers and people in their early 20s to do this shit, and that leads into another big thing I loved about this movie, and they highlight it the most in that scene, the big long scene that builds up to the smells like napalm. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah.
Just the whole like the chaos and of everything, and just it's
The kid
so
not getting off the helicopter. I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm not
everything,
Yeah.
dude. Everything going on. Like they're literally mowing down people, and then the dudes being like, "Waves are looking good today."
Yeah.
Just the
no, look how they're breaking. And
exactly,
you're
dude.
and
The
you're like,
way they're encapsulating how utterly insane and sad war is, I was like, perfect.
It really was.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a cool thing about so during that, all the helicopter pilot audio was done in like ADR after
I was
the fact.
wondering about that. Okay, good.
So-
I feel like
and
a
they-
lot of the movie
I
was
was
ADR.
like, could they? No.
Wait, what does ADR mean?
Like
after
the record, like the audio was
I
recorded.
feel like
after
a
the fact.
lot of audio was done like that.
What is ADR? It's like after something. It's like basically
Yeah.
recording after
After
audio,
we did it, retard.
After did it.
After did it, Ralph.
But they got
Who's Ralph? Shut up.
real ex-Vietnam helicopter pilots to come in and record that. Like they showed them the footage.
wow.
They're like, hey, we'll watch this footage and just like ad lib some stuff, like if you were actually flying.
Yeah. Like
And-
the balls thing where they put their. Why are you all sitting on your helmet? They're like, so our balls don't get blown off. And you're like,
Dude, my favorite.
he talked about that.
And then
today.
he like
we
takes
could
the helmet.
Yeah, he's like we could get. He's like we captured horror. We had captured the grittiness. We captured comedy. And
Yeah.
I was like, and he said also sex. And I was like, nuh-uh. And I was like thinking about it. I was like, wait, there's tits, the balls joke, napalm, the grenade. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But
Dude, my-
apparently, when they were recording it with the helicopter pilots, like some of the guys, like pilots, like wives came and stuff, and like they said, like the like people's like the guys' wives like started crying because they're like, I've never seen or heard my husband act or talk this way, and it really upset. It was like very
Like how
like how they
they're
like fell
yeah,
right
fuck that,
back
yeah.
and they fell right back into like that mode of existence.
There was one guy doing the ADR where he was like, if it stuck out how calm he was, where he's just like, "Oh, we got shot. I'm going down."
Yeah. No, like he's like, we're going in.
Yeah, it was like it was hilarious and horrifying all at the same time.
All of it.
That was a
Yeah.
big thing with a lot of moments in like the first half of the movie before it started to like spiral and get really like weird and shit.
Yeah, I mean the bridge is where it really takes a turn, where like all the audio is like terrifying clown music.
Yeah,
Like-
but no, dude, a lot of the
Yeah,
first chunk of the movie, it was this
It,
shit.
it has like Star Wars lights, like ray gun sounds,
Yeah,
in
it's
like that.
phew.
Yeah,
But a lot of the shit had this like weird upbeat campiness from time to time, but then it's also like, oh wait, that's them trying to keep it together in the middle of this horror.
Yeah.
The horror.
that's how it ended.
yeah. I mean, the movie's like fully about like just like the mental just like contradictions and hypocrisy and like the dissonance of war.
Well, because like Vietnam was a big historical moment that like broke a lot of people, because whenever you look into it, and I'm no Vietnam expert or whatever, but I hear what everyone says, it's like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like World War II, you can debate it, but like everyone's got the good narrative where it's like we had to save the Jewish people from the Nazis, and then Japan attacked us, so we had to attack them back. Everyone
Yeah.
can argue like we were doing too much here, doing too much there, but like you have a clear narrative of why
Of
it all
why we were
happened.
doing anything. Yeah.
Vietnam, you're just like,
Wait,
what-
why'd you go over there?
Well, that's the same. That's the same reason why Afghanistan fucked up so many soldiers, because like they find out they're protecting poppy fields for the Afghans and all this other shit, and then it's like we're going to get Osama bin Laden. Also, now we're trying to bring democracy to the
Yeah.
Middle East, and you're like, why? It's the same thing with Vietnam, where you're like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
And that's why it like fucked with so many people.
And yeah, you watch them like the scene with the boat, like where they go to do the check of the junk boat or whatever, and they're just like, it's
That scene was
to me.
crazy.
It was so needlessly like. At first, I thought I was like, this is way over dramatized, but I'm like, no, it's because
not.
everybody's at their tipping point, but every
Yeah, you don't know if the people you're looking at are the people you're protecting and fighting for.
they
the
don't
people
have a
you're fighting
uniform. They don't
against.
have. They're
Yeah.
just like, and even the people that you are fighting for, just like Iraq or Afghanistan or
They
any
don't
of that
want you
stuff.
there either.
Well, yeah, they're like, yeah, fuck you guys. Like that's why the lady comes out and throws a fucking rice patty grenade in the fucking thing. She's like,
Oh, yeah, that
hat
was-
bomb,
that was
Hi-ya!
crazy,
hat bomb,
yeah.
Hi-ya!
Yeah.
She doesn't give him the raid, and she goes, go.
Yeah, that's what I was doing with the rated. Yeah, no, well that's the other thing too, where there's a meme that goes around every time there's a new war movie where it's just like every time Hollywood makes a war movie, it's always just about like how sad invading a country made these guys.
Yeah.
And this does a good job too at like
But then there's guys like Duvall who's like he's like one day this war's gonna end, and he's just like
I love that. Yeah.
he just lets that line. That's
just-
where the line ends. It's
just
like
stands
You're
up and
right.
walks
that
away.
Scene,
Yeah.
That scene was crazy. I didn't. Yeah.
Dude, when he said that, I was just like, huh. I was like, and that's it. Like he knows exactly what this is. And when the guy is saying that, Martin Sheen, the Willard, he's I know this kind of guy. This is the kind of guy that won't even get touched. And like that's I get the visuals of him not flinching when the bombs are going off and just talking about surfing and just being like, if I say it's safe for R&R, it's safe for R&R. Now get out there and surf, soldier.
Screaming
Charlie,
over
don't
bullets.
surf.
Yeah.
Dude, screaming that over bullets is insane.
And then the guy like surfing, and then a bomb goes off near him, and he's like, "Ah!" He falls
Yeah.
back. It's like some of those things I feel like are some of practical shots that were like, I don't know if they faked that. I think he just almost got blown up. Like we talk about it with Animal Attacks Month. A lot of times, just things like this, they just happen.
Yeah.
Like there's a production we probably won't talk about this month, but the Twilight Zone, where practical effects actually lead to people's death.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of times where they got lucky that the only people that died during this were not Martin Sheen,
Well-
but the fact that the last rites being given to you in a different language.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, wait, I just had a heart attack. I'm alive though, aren't I fine? They're just like, yeah, bad, get on.
Well, this,
get on now, go on.
It was funny because a theme that kept coming up during Animal Attacks Month keeps coming up during. They're
just getting away with it.
movie. No, not even getting away. Yes, getting away with it, but also more so is like you just remember. You're like, oh yeah, everyone's just doing shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There's
Yeah.
no formula. Like there's
Nobody's
a
in
formula. There's a formula for chemicals and baked goods. Other than that, everything is just people doing shit.
Like it's not actual napalm they're dropping, but that's still very dangerous what they're doing. And if those extras are too close to that, they're dead.
Yeah.
Like but
Yeah.
then they'll go like
And they only have like the one chance maybe to get it filmed right, filmed it
perfectly, yeah.
properly,
Or how like they want, and that's the thing is some of these things being like a ton of takes like over and over and over and over again. They're doing.
Yeah, because they're like complicated shots. Like there's a tracking shot where like a tank rolls through a building and then keeps going. And then
Yeah.
there's a flamethrower happening, and then there's explosion, and then a helicopter
And then
flies
you all
past.
have to run this way, then
and it's
this
like
person
all has to
go-
happen in one single fluid.
Then we gotta make sure we got people clear. The people that are stunt coordinators that are set up to be set on fire have to be,
Yeah.
like it's
That-
like crazy.
Those long tracking shots are a big part of why I assume this movie feels like more of a collage than a very like thought out painting.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like you can't. I forgot the scene where they're just driving a tank through a house. You can't do that 2 times. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you just have to have a bunch of shit going on, and then in post they go, we'll figure out a movie, because that's what a lot of the movie was. A scene where they move the story along or show you a fucked up part of war, and then they just show you a bunch of shit happening.
Yeah,
to
but
get you
you'd
to the
think
next
with
scene.
all of that stuff, it would be like more static camera angles, like locked down. But it's like no, these are complex movements.
Yeah.
Within this chaos, like there's like the helicopter shots that are like swirling past while something's happening on
If they're
on
not
the ground.
if they're not headed to war, I wonder if I wonder if he ever like if it's not just didn't make the movie and Coppola was just like, can we just film them battling the rebels at least? Can we just do that? Like, can we just follow them? You know what I mean? Like, because they're going off, they're like, oh, we're going to go fight a war. And you're like, well, they're just going to go fight a war. Can we just film it? I mean, like, can we?
I wouldn't put it past them.
Like,
I mean, the way
I
he
would've.
used the ceremony.
And the tsunami or the
Yeah.
typhoon that came through, like
Yeah.
all this other shit. Yeah, the ceremony shit, like all that stuff is like it's crazy, the visuals and stuff like that. But like he's showing these like, it's like it reminded me of like The Aviator, of like how he was just like I don't care how many lives I'm putting at risk. I gotta get this right, and you're just like, I respect it.
Well, that was like I saw.
You know what I mean? I
the
like,
one part.
It's crazy.
The one part of when they were shooting the
It's
scene.
crazy no one
when
died.
they were shooting the scene where Brando was.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of people playing decapitated heads, and I remember in the doc they were like, yeah, they would sit there underground or with their whole body underground from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's why I go. It's like, you know, to do shit like this, to be a Francis Ford Coppola, like, it's why I always laugh when people go, like, can you believe they're a little over the top on set? I go, do you want the movie or not? You have to be, because any like, I don't even want to say decent human being. Most people would go, oh, yeah, I'm not going to make them sit in the ground for 10 hours. That's insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola is like, well, I need the shot.
Yeah.
So they're in the ground for 10 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
And you just have to not care that they have to be in the ground for 10 hours.
Didn't they? I feel like, am I remembering wrong, or did they also have like real like dead bodies?
I think that was. I remember that for
Wouldn't
sure on
put
the
it past
Poltergeist set. I remember that being a thing on the
Oh,
Poltergeist set. Was like
Poltergeist,
they
yeah.
used real human remains for that,
Was that the one where she's in the pit?
Yeah.
And it's yeah, I think.
and it pops up right next to her. That's
yeah,
like,
I think
apparently,
that's
like,
a real dead body.
It's a real core. Yeah, it's real remains that like they got from.
Bones, yeah.
They got from like a different. Instead of like a Hollywood one, like props department, they got the props department ended up ordering it from a different thing.
Yeah.
But like this was, it was just in general like kind of a crazy overall thing. But the original budget was approximately $31 million. Originally supposed to be $13 million, I think. Right? Wasn't it? Or that's what he put up.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what you said
I think
earlier.
that's
Yeah,
what
I think
it was.
I think it was 13 and then went to 30, and then like with adjusting for inflation, that's like even high. That's
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
this is 19. What was it again?
Well, it came out
79.
79.
79 probably started production. What?
75,
77 I
76.
have it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Because the editing process also took forever.
Yeah.
How does that? What's that in current dollars? Because
Uh,
30 million sounds so cheap for that movie.
$13 million budget originally, so it ballooned to almost 3 times that much. Not super close, but close to like more than double.
No, I'm trying to figure out what that is with
nowadays.
inflation.
Oh yeah, but the editing of the movie, they had like multiple editors working on the movie, and Francis was doing a thing where it was like, okay, you've been working on the movie the longest, so you've gone the most insane.
Yeah.
So you'll work on the end of the movie, and you're working on the movie like the second amount, so you'll do the middle because you're the second most insane. Like he had like a new person came on to edit, and they're like, you're gonna work on the beginning because you haven't gone insane from this yet.
That's crazy.
Like
I didn't know. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
He had multiple people working on the score. I think his father wrote some music, because his father was a composer, a musician, who did like The Godfather. He did the Godfather score. He did a bunch of Coppola's scores. But I think his father wrote a bunch of it, and then he had electronic musicians interpreting it because that score was super,
Yeah, it's super
unconventional
strange.
at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, the Walter Murch was the sound engineer, and he innovated tons of like sound technology for it, like the sound design, the helicopter stuff, like the way you hear like the sound
the
moving.
Doppler effect of it coming through like,
Yeah.
in the background. Like yeah.
According to Grok 3, shout out Elon, $30 million adjusted for current money is $130 million.
Which is still not that much.
That's
with like
less-
that dog shit new Russo brothers movie cost like $330 million.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, and it's got like just came out with like an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah,
God.
the one with Pratt and Stranger Things.
and it probably looks like shit.
Yeah.
It looks probably
Well,
hurt
that's the
your
thing.
eyes. It's
So,
ugly.
That's what we talked about in Waterworld. Like Andy had different feelings than I did. I actually do like Waterworld, but
Did we talk about Waterworld?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
My main gripe was execution.
Yeah,
Other than that, I had
It's insane, and a lot of things about it don't make sense and don't
Yeah.
technically work. But I'm fascinated. Like
I
the
love
fact
it.
how
I still like it.
unpleasant.
Pat got me more convinced with
Costner
the
is?
potential of the lore. What were you saying?
Like how unpleasant Costner is for most of the movie is like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well, it does in the sense that, except for the fact of how the changes he ended up making to his character, where you're like, wait, you want to change it? So you're being this anti-hero, this guy of like, nobody can love me and I won't care about anybody. And then all of a sudden he's just like, wait a minute. Maybe I don't want paper, so don't rape her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he just like gives him back the paper and says, stop it, get out. And then kills the guy, feeds him. Like, then he's all of a sudden, it's like he comes around at some point and
Yeah.
it's just a weird thing that doesn't make sense to.
But he's
in
like the main
in
character
world.
of the movie, and for so long into it, you're like, I don't like this guy,
Right.
even a little bit.
And then
He's
all of a sudden,
very
and
unlikable.
he's just like, wait a minute, I missed how much she talks. You know what I mean? Like, but the whole time he's just like, you talk too much, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like I think at least in the I don't know if it's in the version you guys watched of Waterworld. It opens with him pissing into like a bottle.
Yeah, making the Mr. Coffee water
Yeah.
thing, and
Like,
you're just like, and also that's the other thing. We were joking about how much people are freaking out over dirt. I do understand that it's important to you can make plants and shit like that. But I was like,
I still think it's stupid.
but they don't ever. Well, it's stupid because they don't even mention seeds. They never even mention fucking
Yeah.
seeds.
That-
And you're
well, that
like,
was
so
a big
why would you give a fuck about dirt if you don't have seeds?
That was a big theme throughout the movie, is bringing up something that could be mildly or very interesting and not digging into it whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's Costner's thing. They went away from world building and went more towards just an action movie. So apparently, both directors cut. So I'm looking forward to watching Redux as well as the 170-minute version of Waterworld,
dude.
because that's the one I do like it, but I also give it a lot more leeway because I'm giving them credit for a lot of things, like the fact that there's a huge fish, that crazy mutant fish, and you're just like, why would that mutate so fast? But also, why wouldn't you just catch like a fish at the top? It's because if humans have been living on the water this whole time, then a generation of fishing, they've overfished the oceans, and all the fish have gone down lower,
Yeah.
and lower fish get bigger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
naturally, that would happen a lot quicker. And I was just like, I just gave them a lot of credit. I don't even know if that's what they were meaning to do, but that makes sense if
It's so funny.
it ended up
There's a
making
huge
sense.
chance they were
Yeah.
just like,
We need a big
ass fish.
Yeah, and just like put the big and then also the other point, every time I watch that scene where he puts the fish fat on the grill, it makes me hungry every single time. We were talking about that, but I still like it, and I think because it visually, for sure, story wise, it's shaky, obviously, but Waterworld as well as Apocalypse Now, because of all of the practical effects, all of the practical shots that you see. Everything you're seeing
It
is
happened.
real.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's
Yeah.
actually happening. Yes, they're not actually trying to kill Kevin Costner. They're just stunt guys on jet skis. But there's real guys on jet skis chasing a real live big boat. And you're like, that's fucking cool. It's not ever going to not look cool.
Yeah.
It's always going to look cool.
You just know how hard it was for them to make that on the
And
ocean.
you have so much more respect. That's what I'm saying. With all these extras, with all these. And then also, you also have to navigate having airplane pilots flying helicopters over this thing, and then the stunts to go off at the same time. You have to teach civilians how to be Hollywood stunt
Yeah,
people, and it's
I think,
crazy.
I think that's a big reason too
It
why
was a big
um,
swing, and he
I
fucking killed it.
I think that's a big reason too why movies that use practical effects, they usually end up doing a good job because there's so much more at stake, and they're like, we have to fucking do this right. Oh, I checked my notes. There's two more things about that fucking napalm in the morning scene that were just like very tiny. Not tiny details, but the one thing that got me, like they're in the middle of the attack and the dude is just casually drinking coffee out of a mug.
That's what I'm telling you.
And that was like
on the
fucking
helicopter.
And there's
insane.
like flamethrowers going off, and there's like a church sermon happening, and
Yeah.
like
And
Yeah,
then
yeah, there's
there's
just like-
so much stuff happening.
And again, even those guys, it's such a cool touch, and I know that's what it was, but like it's the fact that this guy has brought up now Willard says, I know this fucking guy. He's gonna live through this. He's gonna be he's gonna live forever in this fucking guy. And I'm like, I look to Dom and I go, and he's going back to the U.S. after this. Like, holy fuck.
Well, no, that
guy is a psychopath,
That-
and he's just gonna go back to like going like. I mean, he's just throwing out like, yeah, these fucking we go
Throwing out
this one
death
time I was
cards.
walking up, yeah. He's like, ooh, let me do it. he like,
Yeah.
cracks it open. He's like, I love the smell of new deck cards. Okay, you. And he's like, oh, no Jokers in here, but these are a whole bunch of Jokers. Like, and you're just like,
See, I think
this guy's psycho.
Oh, he goes to the guy with the who's holding
he's
his
like-
guts in, and he's like anyone could drink water out of my canteen.
But then they just go like,
They
hey.
just immediately walks away
Don't
from
he
him.
realize
and
all
he's,
the-
just, and he's like
server.
starts pouring, and he's like, oh,
oh,
wait,
oh,
there's a surfer
the
over
famous surfers over here.
No, I think
funny.
that character was
love
that character was so great because it reminds you that it's like there are dudes. You know, one angle of war is, we're sending a bunch of kids over there to fight bankers' wars. And then the other angle of war of, like, there's a bunch of dudes in there who go, I get to shoot people legally.
Yeah, he's like, wait, we get to figure out the most efficient way to kill the most people. He's talking about, we light up this mountain, and then I'm just walking up, and he's like, I'm not even seeing any bodies. And he's like, he could barely get through the story, and he's just like...
Yeah, that guy was fascinating.
and like, but Charlie Sheen's just like, or Charlie Sheen.
And it
Martin
just
Sheen's
highlights
like,
and Martin Sheen's on a mission to go assassinate a guy.
He's doing a Black Ops mission for the CIA, and he's just going like, dude, you're crazy.
and it's if this is
That-
how
you
and
love
if this
it.
how
No,
if that's
that
how he
detail-
runs his
Sorry,
war.
What?
If like and Martin Sheen even says it, his character even says it. And he's like, if that's how he runs his war,
Right.
Like, how can I justify in going to kill Kurtz?
That the when they were giving him the mission, that was a small detail I appreciated so much, where they made it very clear. They're like, this is not on
He's
the
like,
record.
this isn't a mission, but here's your mission.
Yeah, like there's no mission, there's no record of this, and you're like, that's what people. I remember I was reading. Annie Jacobs has this book called. I forget what the fuck it was called, but it was about all these like CIA operations, and at the end of the book. The whole book's based off like doing a bunch of interviews with these ex-CIA guys who were going into other countries and like doing shit like this. And at the end, the dude she's been interviewing the whole book, he makes a point. He goes, "What I've told you and what they have records of," he's like, "that might be 10% of what we did over there." He's like, because he's like, there's so much that. Brother, they weren't even told directly what to do. They were just told, like, someone needs to be taken care of. And it's like,
You'll know
throwing
who it is
that
when you see him.
Yeah. Or it's just like, someone's been causing so-and-so's been causing a stir. I think it's time to deal with him. And then a guy knows, all right, I'm going to go kill that guy. It's like, so throwing in that little detail was such a great element of pointing out how the CIA works, where you're like, dude, you don't even know how many operations they did that there's zero paper trail on.
And as he's like, they're like, here's all the information you'll need, and like they're like, he'll go over it on his way up there. And as he's going through it, he, like you said, he's just like, wait, this guy's he just did a good job, but you didn't tell him to do it, and then now he's crazy. But like, who's not crazy? Like that's like it really is. It's one of those things where. The reason it's the standard is because it's like it is probably aside from I think Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan was such a crazy thing where you're like they're on this mission inside of a war, like a specialized mission, and like a lot Black Hawk Down's another one. Most of the war movies we see are like. It's about a mission during the war.
And it's all organized. And it's very tactical.
But it's like, going through the emotions and like the off time and like the not having it always be crazy and like having this really retrospective part of really just the meaning of war.
Yeah.
Of that kind of shit where like it's a thing where like even like I think about this all the time when I watch shows like Saving Private Ryan. Oh, they find him or whatever. But does that but he still gotta get home.
Yeah.
Like they got here, like through the whole river, all this other shit.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, cool. Whew, I killed Kirk. Ah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Oh,
Which-
yeah. Oh, fuck. I gotta go all the way back. And like
I always-
all of that shit you were going through the whole time, you're gonna have to go through again.
I always
of people
wonder-
just immediately just going, there's a boat.
I remember being a little kid too, always wondering why has no one ever made the movie about them getting back?
Right.
Because you would see
That's
these,
what I'm saying.
you would see these over the top action films where like. You would see these like over the top action films where like the area they were in was getting utterly destroyed,
Right.
And you're like, yeah, but now they got to go home. How the fuck did they get back?
That's
I'm
what I loved
surprised-
about Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound was the movie where it's specifically the vacation's over. Now we got to get back
Is that
home.
an animal one?
Yeah, both
Which
of
one
them.
was that?
Michael J. Fox, Sally Field, and I believe Sam Elliott. I can't remember who was the dog. Who was Shadow?
Playing little animals.
I'm gonna look up who was Shadow in Homeward Bound.
Oh, you were, dude. One other scene that just popped into my head. It was when they got to the one area at nighttime, and it was like they were in the trench area trying to. There was like that one.
We're looking for the CO,
They're
they get to the
looking for the
bridge.
CO,
the Dolong Bridge or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and he's like, and Martin Sheen goes up to the one dude, and he's just like, "Where's your CO?" And the guy goes, "I thought you were the CO." And like that one line just really highlights the craziness and sadness of the whole thing.
Yeah, Lance is tripping on acid. All the twisted carnival music is happening.
Bro, I just remembered too. Remember later where some shit happens where like all the Viet Cong are making loud noises to fuck with their head.
Yeah.
And the guy jumps up, and I think it was Lance, and he was just like, "Where's the dog? Where's the dog?"
Yeah.
And then they just kept the movie going, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, no, you're just never gonna find
It's
out."
that
really
dog's
funny
gone.
that Dom said exactly what I was thinking. She was just like, "I'm really glad they didn't show the dog dying."
Well, dude,
And I was just like, "Yeah, I know." As soon as they introduced that puppy, I'm like, "Oh, someone's gonna punt that dog.
when
Someone's
they
gonna
were
punt that dog."
when they,
Ah!
you thought it was gonna turn into fucking Anchorman.
Like, he took it. Yeah, I literally thought he was like, "Give me
Bro.
that dog," and he's like, "Oh no, he's just gonna go." Boom. We
Bro,
don't have
when
time.
they were getting on, when they were getting the shit after they killed the people on the boat, and then he got the dog, and then the two people started fighting over the dog, and I
Yeah.
realized it was a real dog.
Yeah.
And I go like, "All right, guys, I can't.
Yeah.
It's a movie, chill.
Yeah. This is too practical. We're getting too practical here.
This is too accurate."
Are they feeding that dog? Is that dog okay? And I thought that, but then at the end, I was just like, "Oh, that was probably a real bull, wasn't it?"
Yeah, but they ate it.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't want to see that, man. Like
Wait, it was a real what? Oh, when they were hacking up
when they were doing the
bull?
sacrifice
Yeah, it
at
was
the end.
real.
Oh yeah, I assumed that was real.
I know, but
Yeah.
it was just like, I don't want to see it. And then in Hearts of Darkness,
And they were like
show-
racing the clock to get that ceremony because like if they didn't time it right, like they would have killed the thing, and then they're like would have had to bring another backup bull in
Yeah,
for the
they would've
shot.
been
and they're
but
like,
we already
didn't-
did the
Yeah.
ritual. We don't need another bull. This is gonna feed our village for the whole year.
Yeah.
And they're just like, but can you just for the production?
Yeah, so
for
much
the,
of it is like
for
a
the rap
race.
meeting.
Hey,
We gotta
did you guys
feed
just
about
murder
400
another
extras. we got some extras back down the river.
We can murder another bull, please.
Yeah. So, by the way, it was Don Amici. That was the voice of Shadow from Homeward Bound.
Oh, okay.
You know that guy?
I don't know.
You don't know that guy? This guy?
Probably.
Yeah, either way.
But yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else?
No,
you guys wanted to throw in?
the final budget and everything. I was given that little breakdown. The final budget. So the total gross was $105,086,099. Domestic gross was $96,042,913.
The total cost was $30 million.
31. So they made the money back. Luckily. Apocalypse Now was also honored with the, you might know how to pronounce this, Palme
d'Or
d'Or
at Cannes.
Cans,
Constable.
where it premiered unfinished.
Yep.
Interesting enough.
Really?
When it
'Cause-
finally released in August 15th, 1979, by United Artists, it performed well at the box office, grossing over $80 million in the United States and Canada, and over $100 million worldwide. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. And what Coppola did after Apocalypse Now is he took his money that he made, he took his success, he started his own studio,
Right.
made this movie called One from the Heart that filmmaking wise is some of like the coolest shit ever. It has narrative problems, but it was a huge failure. Studio immediately went bankrupt, had to shut down.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, but that's Coppola's career. Is he does something,
Big swings.
it works. He doubles down until it fails, and then he rebuilds, and then he'll double down again.
It's like the guy who made the Hostel movies. He also did Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Exactly.
Yes, Apocalypse Now is his Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
And it also won 2 Oscars. 1979, excuse me, an Alchemy of Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, the Vietnam War, saw Coppola emerge from the challenges of notoriously difficult production with a powerful film that ultimately received 8 Oscar nominations and 2 Oscar wins.
What did it win?
Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I don't know why it wasn't in that information, but I'll find out real quick. I'll look it up.
Find it pretty quick.
Brando was also paid $3.5 million for 15 total minutes of screen time.
Which like they had to spend weeks in his trailer, him and Francis, like
Yeah.
coming up with what it was going to be, and then like they were just improving at times with Martin Sheen on set.
Yeah,
and,
like again, writing
yeah,
his
set,
lines
learning, like
down.
figuring out how to light him, setting that spotlight up, and like he used that spotlight like it's nobody's business.
And
He's so good with it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
He understands the way he looks.
Yeah.
Brando understands the way he looks.
his good side, his
yeah,
powerful,
his angles.
Yeah,
his big fat body. He won best cinematography and best sound.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Walter Murch was an innovator in sound design.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Titles in film, like film credit, like the people didn't know what to title him at first, like for things. Like he had like special titles that
Yeah.
like no one else ever had.
Yeah. So this is a great movie. This is actually unlike Waterworld. This is a problem production that will turn out for the best. So there is, like I said, I would like to nominate Island of Dr. Moreau. I don't want to take over the whole month though. If you have something you want to suggest, if you think there's a good through line here, I was just saying we went from Connection from Waterworld to Apocalypse Now was Dennis Hopper. That was inadvertent, but it happened. Now, if we want to take it the Marlon Brando route, we can, because that also leads into Val Kilmer, who was a bitch during this movie, apparently.
Well, I would
And then
like,
there was the whole thing with the original director got fired, and
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
so
yeah.
much.
Oh,
for
you're
that
talking
movie.
about Island of Dr.
Moreau.
there is people trying to sneak away out of the country and getting caught at the airport and drugged back to finish this movie. There are people that are kicked off this movie that sneak back in as an extra.
Yeah.
There are there's diva. There's a diva off between two grown ass motherfucking men. One being Marlon Brando, the other being Val Kilmer.
who Marlon Brando fat, Val Kilmer
Not.
oddly thick.
Oh, is he got a dunk?
No, just he's like who's the dude? Who's the dude who looks like thick Matt Damon? They're just
Fat Damon.
Fat Damon. Yeah. They're just like Val Kilmer's always just been a sturdy guy.
Yeah. So there's that option. If you think there's something different or better, or if you think there's anything else you had in mind.
I got nothing in mind. And also that's a movie I've never seen. I'd like to learn more about Marlon Brando and how fat he is.
You get him broad daylight being carried out by real life natives
Yeah.
on a big ass thing covered in white paint and just going.
And then if we do Val Kilmer, we can, unless you have other shit planned, we can, I don't know if it was a difficult production, but we can consider watching the Doors movie and calling Jim Morrison a dickhead for an hour.
That's a good option. Who directed? Do you know who directed the Doors movie?
Oliver Stone,
He's a great filmmaker.
great filmmaker,
I
I
just
do
say
love
film
Oliver
mocker?
Stone.
and lunatic, cocaine lunatic.
We
Yeah.
love Cocaine Lunatics, so you know that was a problem set.
Also, fucking,
Almost definitely.
has one of my favorite.
He made JFK and The Doors in the same year. How fucked up is that?
same year.
They
I
came
love
out in the
JFK.
same year.
I just bought
Who's
that
the dude in
recently.
JFK? I think it's like
Kevin Costner.
What?
Kevin Costner.
Oh, Kevin. No, but the side guy who kept saying like, "Oh, here's the thing, Daddy-O."
that's John Candy.
John Candy
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so fucking good in
John-
JFK.
And Joe Pesci's in there. He plays Jack
Yeah.
Ruby.
I mean,
Yeah.
JFK is such an insane movie. I love it
that
so
movie.
much.
We could just watch that for funsies.
JFK's intense.
We should start a Patreon just for the movie part.
We should.
We'll just keep doing.
I could do movie
month.
reviews every week.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah, this is so.
It's also like easier to focus on a movie over like a movie over a broad like news topic is
Yeah.
way easier to lock in on.
So we will. We've got the next two picked out. You can join in if you want at home, Tyler. We haven't introduced our guest yet.
Oh, Tyler. Everyone, Tyler Langlois.
Thanks for having me, guys.
If you want to join,
Sorry, I've been hanging out with Tyler all week. I'm just like, Tyler's here.
yeah, it was just too natural. We were just, but
Tyler's about to fucking sleep in my house, dude.
Yeah.
The fucking Tyler trade-off today was so funny.
Yeah.
because he was at
did you
at
meet under a
Sean's.
bridge or at a McDonald's like my parents used to?
No, dude, he was at Gardini's,
Yeah.
and I rolled up and I go, I'm here, and then I see Tyler walk out, and then I just see Gardini standing, and he's just like, and I'm just like, why does it feel like we're divorced and I'm getting my child?
Don't forget, no sweets after 10.
Yeah, just standing there, shoeless in his shorts.
With his fucking serial killer face.
So
It was so funny.
we got the rest of the month picked out. So if you want to join in, the next movie we're going to do is The Island of Dr. Moreau. And after that, we're going to be doing The Doors,
Yes.
baby. And if there's not a problem with that, we'll just go into the just how much we hate the movie or love it.
Also-
I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen that
Doors
movie.
movie rips.
I have not seen that movie, and I love Oliver Stone. So,
Also, The Doors, there is a connection to conspiracy stuff.
ooh, really?
Yeah, because
So the FBI made him fat.
no. yes, they MK Ultra, but with Twinkies.
They MKXL'd him.
Chemtra- they did MK Big and Tall. Ooh, which by the way, speaking of MK Ultra, premiering.
DXL. You talked about DXL the other night on stage,
Yeah.
and I was like, MKDXL would be a fucking crazy conspiracy.
Speaking of MK Ultra, though, this always drops on Monday. This
Yeah.
past Friday on Netflix, Chaos premiered.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's the documentary adaptation of the Tom O'Neill book about Charles Manson's correlation to MK Ultra and Jolly West. And all that.
Allegedly.
But no, Jim Morrison's dad, he was like high up in the Army or the Navy or something, and he was I forget what the fuck it was, like the Gulf of Tonkin or something like that.
Yeah.
His dad was heavily involved with that, and there's this like conspiracy book I have called "Weird Tales from Inside the Canyon," and it's about how like Laurel Canyon in the '60s there was just like a bunch of weird shit with all these like musicians and stuff like that, and all these musicians had like weird connections to like military and the
Nice.
government and stuff, and it was just I might have to actually
You bring those notes because I ain't reading.
yeah no I have the book and
I pick movies.
That'll give me a really good excuse to finish that fucking book.
And then that'll lead us right into the next month that we had planned, Celebrity Death Month.
oh yeah.
So if you want to,
Yeah, that's the best part about that book too about Laurel Canyon is every chapter has about 10 deaths of random heart attack and just brakes weren't working.
yeah, that's crazy.
It's just crazy.
Car
It's just
got hacked.
crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
We did it,
I forgot Jim Morrison will go back to conspiracies.
and he's also dead.
And he's dead as shit
So
and fat. Tyler,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a fun time.
Hell yeah, dude.
Until the next show.
Till the next show. Welcome to Dracula. No.